Hello and welcome to BQ Prime. In fact, it's a Good Friday ahead of the actual Good Friday as well, with the way the markets are panning out in today's session. Good up move seen. And the anticipation was that if we are able to sustain above those 17,200 levels, I beg your pardon, the up move could continue. And that's the conversation we had on Wednesday evening as well. But a lot of movers and shakers in trade today, a lot of stock specific action is what we are witnessing as well. To discuss these counters, joining us on the show is Sunny Agarwal, Head of Fundamental Research at SBI Cap Securities. Sunny, good morning and welcome to the show.
Yeah, good morning. Thanks for having me on the show.
Always a pleasure. Sunny, first, let's pick up the defense sector as a whole. Over the last two trading sessions, in fact, last 2 days, we've seen a lot of order wins that have come in from the Ministry of Defense to the Indian companies as well. You have the likes of a Cochin shipyard. You talk about BEL. You talk about any of these defense companies which are seeing a good up move in today's session. Firstly, what's your view? Because overall, if you see in terms of the defense players as well, the anticipation was in terms of the kind of opportunities we were seeing and the outlay that the government put out for FY24 as well. That looked pretty strong.
You have rightly pointed out that maybe before the completion of the fiscal year FY23, government would like to complete their certain ordering a pipeline, and that is the reason we have seen 3-4 big orders which have come on during the last 2-3 days. And definitely, if I look at book-to-bill ratio of all the defense companies, they stand at a very healthy level, and that gives a very strong revenue visibility over next 3 to 5 years. But having said that, in terms of price performance, so we have seen a very good rally across the defense pack during the last 6 to 8 months. So it may happen that after a short up move today, it may happen that stock may go into a sideways consolidation. But if your vision is for long term, more than 12 months, so definitely this is a space to be in. And there are many stocks where there is a money making opportunity like HAL, Bharat Dynamics, Mazdog, BEL, and a lot of private players also over there.
Right. So that's a sector one should be watching out for as well. Moving on, you have the banking space, which is in focus as well. In fact, if you see Bank Nifty itself, it's up for the fourth consecutive session right now. So from a technical perspective as well, we're seeing a strong build-up with what's coming in. From a fundamental perspective, next week, we will see a lot of updates that will start coming in from banking companies, with regards to their quarterly performance, right, ahead of the numbers. What is your view in terms of banking space? And if you have to divide it between the PSU banking space as well as the private banking space, where would you put your bets and what would you advise?
Yeah, so in banking space, the key metric to track is the credit growth and deposit growth at industry level. So what we have seen is that the latest data which came out during last few days, that credit growth is at 14% and deposit is at 9%. So when we were looking at the data, what we feel is that the low base effect of for the credit growth may start to wane from June, July onwards. And to maintain the same credit growth, it will be tough for the industry. So now we have to pick we have to be choosy in terms of stock selection from here on in terms of banking sector. So within the banking sector, the stock which we like in the private sector is the EDFC, ICICI, Axis on a last side. If somebody want to bet on a mid-cap, mid-sized bank, then Federal, Karnataka, IDFC is our pick over there. And within PSU, I would like to highlight that we should not be doing a blanket buying across the public sector bank. As now, henceforth, the fight is for the deposit mobilization, low CASA, and so on and so forth. So the selective large bank like Bank of Baroda, Canara Bank, Indian Bank, and within the small size Bank of Maharashtra, these are the few banks where one can place their bet on. But however, a question over here is that government of India is holding more than 50% stake in a lot of these public sector banks. Hence, the OFS overhang can be one of the possibility which can restrict the price movement.
Right. Moving on, Reliance Industries is another stock to focus on in today's session. In fact, the kind of weakness that we've seen on this counter in the last 1 year, last 5 days have been pretty okay. The stock is up around 4% in the last 4 to 5 trading sessions. And now on the 2nd of May, they have a shareholder meeting to approve the demerger of financial services business. Firstly, your view, and secondly, a good time to enter Reliance Industries?
Yeah, so we have to understand that what was the reason for the correction in the Reliance industry. So basically, high capex and debt on the company, coupled with the rising interest rate scenario, was worrying the street that it may happen that the free cash flow delivery by the company may get delayed by 6 to 12 months, and that is the reason we saw the Reliance came under pressure. But with this demerger of financial services arm, there is a hope on the street that even the telecom business and retail business may get demerged over next 12 to 24 months, and they will get separately listed. So definitely a post 20% correction, it's a good value buy. A core portfolio stock one can gradually accumulate with a price target of around 2800 to 3000 over next 12 to 18 months.
Right. Apart from that, Shree Renuka is another stock that we are focusing on. Strong moves coming in today's session, and this is because they've started or commenced commercial production of their ethanol from the expanded capacity as well. Overall, your view on Shree Renuka, taking into consideration the outlook from an ethanol perspective, as well as the way sugar has been panning out, because the output from Brazil as well as India is expected to be lower versus what was anticipated, and the trend in terms of sugar prices.
So basically, you have rightly pointed out that capacity for ethanol in Renuka has increased from 570 KLPD to around 1250 KLPD now. And this will definitely lead to the 25 to 30% boost in earning for the ethanol division in FY24. And when I was looking at the divisional performance, it is the ethanol which is contributing heavily on the profitability side. So definitely it's a short-term big positive for the Renuka. But having said that, the company is yet to turn around the corner at overall console company level. And I would like to be in a wait and watch mode in the Renuka, and would like to place my bet on other better companies like Balrampur, Triveni, or for that matter, Dhampur, if I want to ride on sugar story. Yeah.
Right. Moving on, Vedanta, Sunny, is another stock. In fact, the stock saw some smart gains on the announcement of the fifth interim dividend. However, today there is pressure building in, as well as you have Crystal, who's gone ahead and downgraded the outlook to negative, and this is mainly on the back of the dividend outflow as well. What would you advise an investor who's holding a Vedanta to do, and someone who wants to look at Vedanta from an entry perspective? What would your advice be?
Yeah, so definitely in last 1 year, we have seen the lot of cash moving out of the Vedanta as a group from Hindustan into Vedanta, and from Vedanta to the respective shareholders. So definitely from henceforth, what we believe is that Vedanta's stock price performance will be linked to this earning growth. So the margin of safety because of high cash on the balance sheet is no more available, and henceforth one should track the metal cycle, how metal prices are moving up globally, and that will drive the Vedanta stock price. So at the current juncture, what I would advise is that you should continue to hold the stock. That definitely metal prices are at a multi-year low. And having said that, with the dollar index cooling off, that's technically also positive for metal as a sector. So definitely Vedanta, I would recommend continue to hold and track the metal prices globally, and then form a view over the next 3 to 6 months.
Right. From the auto pack, you have a Hero Moto, which is in focus. Firstly, you have the auto sales numbers that will start trickling in from tomorrow. And you have the CFO, who's Mr. Niranjan Gupta, will be taking over as the role of CEO from the 1st of May. Moves coming in on this stock as well. And overall, what would you say with, firstly, with Mr. Gupta coming in as the CEO from the 1st of May? And secondly, from an auto sales numbers perspective, what's your view?
Yeah, from an auto sales perspective, what we have seen is that for the entire two-wheeler pack, the demand on the export side is relatively weak because of non-availability of dollar, or because of the crisis which is panning out in different countries. But however, demand on domestic side continue to remain decent. Not, I would not say it's a robust demand, but it's a decent number which is coming out. But at the same time, the competitive intensity for Hero Honda has increased. So we have recently seen that Honda has launched a new 100cc motorcycle, and that will dent the sales of Hero Splendor, which is one of the key flagship product of the Hero Motocorp, and as well as Bajaj, wherein the Bajaj Platina is one of the flagship product for the Bajaj. So definitely competitive intensity has increased at the lower end of this segment for these two-wheeler. But having said that, the stock has corrected, all the negatives are in price. So stock is available at 20 price to earning multiple. offer favorable risk-reward ratio. Going forward, the key metric to track is one is the definitely auto sales number. It will start in the next week, and the monsoon how it will pan out. So because as we have seen it that Hero Moto is mostly relying on rural market for its demand. So in case monsoon pan out to be better than expectation or in line with expectation, definitely there is an upside potential for Hero Moto shareholder.
Right. Moving on from a Hero Moto, one last topic I want to discuss with you is a Nestle. As per reports, what they're suggesting is that they're eyeing a $1 billion deal for Ching's Secret, which, on the owner Capital Foods in India. What do you make of this kind of an acquisition if it happens, and what's your view?
Yeah, so Nestle has been definitely one of the quality businesses which is available on Indian domestic bourses. But having said that, so recently we were going through that annual report also. So they have announced a capex of 5,000 crore for CY 22 to 25 period. So definitely this will lead to a 10 to 15% earning CAGR over next 3-4 years for the Nestle. But the valuation continue to remain steep at 55x FY24 price to earning multiple. So definitely a quality business available at very high premium valuation. So definitely gradual accumulation is a strategy one can do in Nestle. However, the return expectation should be moderate. Don't expect Nestle to deliver 25% CAGR return over next 3 to 5 years. The return expectation should be 10 to 12% CAGR over next 3 to 5 years.
Right, so that's with regards to Nestle Go. So a lot of movers and shakers in trade today. Thank you, Sunny, so much for joining us on the show. It seems to be a good day of trade as well. Let's see how the rest of the day pans out. Thank you. Stay safe and speak to you soon again.
Thank you. Good day.